it's going to help us parents kind of find out or dive in and dig in to see what is it exactly that our kids are not getting. Maybe it's them, maybe it's us, maybe it's a combination, but whatever it is, we're going to figure all of this out right now.
Parenthood is challenging enough as it is, and getting organized sounds easier said than done. Now, combine these two together, and it's truly a balancing act that many of us struggle with day in, day out. If you're here, it's because you want to know how to get your life and home more organized and structured where the kids are involved too, so that parent life is a little easier and you can focus on what truly matters. Hey there, I'm Diane Jimenez, owner and founder of One Tidy Place. I created this podcast because I know parents have their hands full. I know this because I have 3 kids of my own. Each week, we'll talk about all things organizing, teaching kids life skills, and contributing to the home, being on the same page with your partner, and raising your kids together while you tidy up, go out for a walk, or just need some real talk. I'm here for you. Thank you for tuning in. Are you ready? Let's do this.
Hey there, welcome to another episode of Parenting Guide Organizing Habits Made Easy podcast. And you're listening to episode number 51, Are My Kids Too Busy to Help Out? So this is a really exciting and cool episode because I find it's going to help us parents kind of find out or dive in and dig in to see what is it exactly that our kids are not getting. Maybe it's them, maybe it's us, maybe it's a combination, but whatever it is, we're going to find out how to figure all of this out right now. So are you ready? Let's do this. So the first thing, you know your kids, right? Is the message getting clear across to them? And the message I'm talking about is the instruction, the task, whatever it is that you want them to do. Are they understanding what it is that you want done, when and how specifically? So not all kids grasp information the same way or at the same rate. With technology these days and fast-paced life and being busy, there's a lot of distractions happening every single day, all day. And with busier schedules right now, the kids can possibly be tired. So do a little check analysis on your kid or your kids and see if whenever you're giving an instruction to see if the message is getting clearly across to the other side and that there's an acknowledgement about it. So if you have to kind of like speak a little slower, have them make sure that they're looking at you and that they're focused and there's not too much distraction, you're probably going to be a lot more successful in making sure that the communication is going across. Now, the second part of this is checking on you, yourself, and to see how are you giving the instructions, or I should say, how are you with your instructions? Are you focused also, or are you distracted, just like your kids? Technology, our phones, other children, the schedule, the activities, people calling us and all our notifications. Are we focused with our message to the kids so that they can understand it clearly, or are you distracted? The second thing about this too is, how is your tone? Is it firm? Is it clear? Or are you yelling? Are you at your wits' end? Are you frustrated and overwhelmed? So oftentimes, the receiver of the message that you're giving will remember what you look like, what you sound like, and their feelings versus the actual instructions and message that you're giving out. So it's important that our tone is kind of like clear and in check and non-threatening, or more of just a firm tone. It's clear, like how I'm talking to you right now, like human. Okay? So make sure your tone is firm and you're focused on the message. And the last thing I'm going to say about this Is your task or the thing that you want them to do, is it simple and clear? Or is it long and never ending? Is it too broad? So, an example of this, I'm going to take myself, for example, as a parent, we have long to do lists every single day, day in, day out, right? And oftentimes, we don't always finish our to do lists every single day because there's so much to do. And it happens for me oftentimes that if I'm in one room and I need to get something in another room, something will distract me and I will veer off and do that thing. And that going from one room to downstairs, for instance, I'll remember, oh, right, I need to bring up eggs or I need to bring up cans of corn or something. So I'll bring that up at the same time, forgetting what my initial task item was. So I'm sure this happens to a lot of people. And I've caught myself a few times back to the original place and say, what is it that I was doing again? All right. And by that time, the time is up and I got to go pick up the kids or I got to go to work or something. And then my task list is not all done. So going back to our kids and our our instructions being simple and specific, you want to make sure that they are. It's just kind of like a one action, one thing that it's clear. So just to recap on this thing, you want to make sure that your instructions are focused on the person that you're talking to, that your tone is firm, and that your task is very simple and clear. Okay. Now, the third thing you want to analyze about why our kids are not helping out is to look at their schedule and see what's going on there. Now, I know I talked about this in episode number 40, where I mentioned the whole thing about seasons. I'm not talking about winter, spring, summer, fall. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the season in their life. How busy are they? So I don't want to leave you without giving you some sort of action items and some marching orders when you're done listening to this podcast episode. So here are the 3 things that you can do to help with all of this. Number 1 is this whole season, this whole busyness in life, and the kids not necessarily listening or the kids being busy. It's not going to last forever. It's just temporary. We have times in our life, the season in our life where we're a lot more busy than other times. For instance, in the fall, when my kids had all of these activities, I had swimming classes and all of these extra meetings were going on. It was crazy town. And now at the time of this recording, I'm in the middle of the holiday season. So there's nothing going on. And I specifically made our schedule like that we are having a lot of downtime, a lot of family quiet time together and not planning a chaotic holiday season like we have in the past. We're just keeping it on the down low. So this whole season of busyness does not last forever. There are going to be ebbs and flows of busyness. The next thing is, because it's so busy and we don't have necessarily a lot of time to take care of things, us and our children included, is that we should try to lower our expectations of the way the house is going to be maintained and lower our expectations just a little bit so that we really look and be real about their bandwidth or what they're capable of doing with the time that they have, with the attention span that the kids have. So please take that into consideration to just lower down the bar a little bit. It'll save on the frustration and the repetitions. Okay. The last thing, and I think this is really important, whether you do this or not, is to not forget to reward the children. I'm not talking about monetary at all. I'm talking about simple, easy thanks, whether it's through actually saying thank you or it's from a hug or a smile or just, like pat on the back, but just to emphasize that you are thankful and grateful for their help. Now, if you do this already, great, but maybe a step further into this is to actually say why you're thankful. So for instance, sometimes my kids will help cut up vegetables or prepare the salad. When I'll say, thank you so much for making that, I was able to focus more on the main meal, or put the extra load of laundry in because we're running out of towels. While you were cutting up the vegetables, I was able to do that. Okay, so being specific about the reward and why you're thankful, it goes a long way and it makes them feel good. And oftentimes we remember how people make us feel, and we end up wanting to do more of that. So being generous about our praises and our gratitude really makes an effect on their behavior. And hopefully, it's a repeat further down the road and more often. All right. So I leave you with that. I hope this episode was helpful and you got some takeaways or just even some inspiration with kind of tweaking the communication between you and your kids. Okay. So thank you so much for being here and taking me along on your journey today. I hope that it helped. And if it did, please rate and review this podcast episode on Apple Podcast. It's pretty much the only place where you can probably leave a review. I would so much appreciate it. And so that's it for me today. I hope you have a great week, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.